Good morning.
Good morning, Deborah Leanne.
Uh, Suzanne and I are here to talk to you about a really deep, juicy, evolutionary, thought-provoking gene key called Gene Key 49.
Gene Key 49, and this is from the Gene Keys book written by Richard Rudd. And this is about changing the world from the inside. And we are moving from the shadow of reaction to the there's three different states. So shadow, gift, and city. And then the shadow state is the reactionary state. The gift of moving through that is revolution to the high state of rebirth. So reaction, revolution, rebirth.
I am really loving this one. It's kind of kicking me in the butt and elsewhere all around, because reactionary stuff is the term I started using about 10 years ago, what I used to call shadow work. And it is in the reaction, the way I love it in here, he said, you're not very reactionary when you're alone. It's in relationship that we get triggered into these, and that are so innate. It's like somebody's just dropped a bit of a spark into something already ready to burn. And so we are so quick to jump into anger, fear of rejection, whatever it is, but it's all around helping us evolve.
Yeah. That emotional.
Which, and he says, I don't know if you listened to the 64 ways, but so in there, he says, so if you're in relationship and you've been doing this work for a while, this Gene Keys work, you may notice that your relationships are getting harder.
Let's go deeper.
Because as we burn, literally, as we burn away the stuff, we're like getting to the little fine nuances, which are those really lovely places that like to, to hide. And I was just saying to my partner this morning, I said, and what's interesting is we can dance around the same topics over and over again, or I think each time we're getting a little bit deeper into the essence of it, but I'm getting beyond myself. So let's talk about reactions and how this looks. What I like, the differentiation between this one and the Gene Key 55 is that is the inner revolution. It is the inner movement from the shadow to the gift to the acidic state. Whereas this is the socio-political, global, this is the big one. And of course, this is the work that I'm doing with leaders. And I am like, oh my gosh, how can I teach about this concept in that work? Because we can't do the big work in the world if we're still
in our reactionary mode.
Absolutely. It's so much about them and us, the tribal and the global perspective, the, fear of the different person. And I love that. So I want to just go back to the beauty of this shadow, was we got this in our DNA millennia ago so that we would be able to kill things to eat and each other for survival, right?
Right.
And we've felt the shifts. We're moving away from where killing is abhorrent. I mean, even people on death row in prisons, they may have done horrible things, but we don't want them to be killed. You know what I mean? And there's people eating less and less meat because we don't want to kill the animal. So we're feeling this shift. And we have a long way to go. So,
and that's the beauty of that, is just knowing that it's the gift of that is just knowing that it's going to take time, not rushing. It's in its own cosmic time to unfold.
And as a collective species, we will never be 100% operating from the gift, because he did a whole evolutionary thing where he talked about Cro-Magnons and Neanderthals coexisting at the same time. And, so just because a new species is morphing, the old DNA is still present. And how are we going to choose to live on this planet together? Will some people choose to move off the planet? I don't know. But it feels like I'm trying not to play with time very much anymore, but it feels like he's talking about, to 2027 is when this big shift is happening. And I'm like, that's only 3 years from now.
Think about how much has changed even in the 7 years that we've been doing this work. Right. Yeah. And so
yeah. And for me, we've all been on spiritual paths, most of us, for a long, long time. And however, it just feels like in the last few years, things are starting to like fall into like we're putting it all together in a new way that is embodied, it's integrated. And this is where we can do our bigger work. I think we've been preparing for the big work and the big rush of this. Let's evolve now. So
that's my vocation. Are we there yet?
That's right.
Yeah. So I already see it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, hey babe, just enjoy the ride. Don't feel like you need to rush anywhere. Just allow it to unfold in its own time. And each one of us has our own journey along that road. And it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. There's no rush.
There isn't. And there is the human thing of, but if I don't go quickly, then I'll lose my tribe. If I don't go if I go too fast, I'll lose my tribe. If I go here, then I won't be understood in my community. If I go, so there's what's holding us back, or maybe calling us forward in some cases, is that fear of rejection, the fear of not belonging. So there's still some really deep-seated things that we are unwinding from. And the more that we become aware of that, it helps it to kind of settle. I mean, it's never going to go away, right? We're always going to have that. And we've talked about this with all the other shadows, right? Like, oh, hello. How you doing?
Yeah.
Familiar friend.
Well, I really, he says the fuel of reaction is the fear of rejection, as you mentioned. And it's one of the greatest fears of being severed from this feeling of being in unity.
Mm. Oh, I love that. Yeah.
So I'm going to just read this quote from him. If you have some awareness, you may be able to see your own reaction patterns at work every time you have a disagreement with your partner or, somebody that you are communicating.
Yeah.
With a lot of awareness, you may even prevent yourself from reacting at all while still feeling the emotional charge racing through your body.
Wow. Yeah. And I can only do that on when I have really been taking care of myself.
Yeah.
Which is why, who was that guy that was years ago? Stephen Covey. Do you remember him, where he was talked about as the guru for businesses and managers? He had one of his tenets that he had was, you don't try to teach when someone is tired or
hungry.
It wasn't hungry, but it was tired or sick, or upset. So he said an example would be when you've got a 4-year-old at a birthday party who wants to have another piece of cake, but she's already spun up out of control. And you're like, we want you to share your gift, your birthday presents with somebody else. And they're like, and she's like, no, I just want another piece of cake and nobody can play with my toys. And it's like, not the time. and we do, and you can see parents, I was one that would try to be like when kids are on the airplane and screaming and you're like trying to get them to, that is the worst time to teach them to, oh, don't let everybody else hear you screaming. This is embarrassing to me, the mother.
Right.
There's nothing. So anyway, when we are, this is why self-care and recognizing the need for when we need to go take care of ourselves is so important, because then we are more resilient to being present in those situations when the reactivity is happening and we're like, okay, I can hold this because I'm more balanced, I'm more centered.
Right. It's
Long
grounded.
story to get to that place. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's
So is that
so
the reactive or the repressive, or?
that's um no, we haven't talked about that at all. So when we get into a repressive nature of this key of reaction, it's inert. It's like there's absolutely no reaction at all. People just hold it in. And it's like all your emotional zest is just because you have this false, you don't want to make waves, so there's some false sense of harmony. So it's like
right.
devoid of emotion, right? And then the reactive nature is the direct opposite, which is all about just fear of rejection. And so they stop you in their tracks before you've even had a chance to connect, because they are protecting themselves,
That
right?
was me. I was a leaver. If I sensed that maybe a relationship was going downhill, I'm like, oh, like you, when you were moving across country, bye. I just kind of disappeared and didn't talk. Well, because, I was trying to protect my heart. I recognize that now. I do that with people who are sick or dying. It's hard because I'm like, I'm more worried about this than I am about that connection. So anyway, I'm one of those runner people.
So it is the fear of rejection. And so that people push others away at the first sniff of someone coming too close to them or leaving or hurting them, or So I think well, this week you were so kind to share with me Danielle LaPorte's wonderful conversation about rejection. I think that it's a common theme that goes along in each one of our lives. And I know I've had such a healing practice with self-acceptance, but that's really the gift of it. When you can really, it's like, I'm inviting you, this shadow of rejection is inviting you to for more into a doorway of more self-acceptance of your own gifts and healing through your own conscious reaction,
Oh man.
emotional reaction to things, your responsiveness, and how you show up provides more power and more freedom and love and clarity. And
Yeah, that how this ripples out by us,
more
our own. Yes. Oh, I'm glad that was. I know we have talked about it so much. I just thought you might be interested in listening.
that was so good. I mean, it was just, she made it so super clear. And
She's
so,
really, she says things that my soul knows and I don't have the words. And every time she words it, I'm like,
oh yeah.
so we'll put the link in the thing here if you want to listen to that fear of rejection podcast.
Yeah.
I want to speak here because this is a big one that I really got this morning when I was listening to this again, is forgiveness.
Mm.
And how is that part of the programming partner? I don't remember, but the main thing is that we can't, and I was surprised because I was thinking it was external forgiveness. So when we're in a reactionary state, we lose it, we get angry, we yell at our partner, we, whatever. We need to forgive ourselves.
It is. That's the programming partner, is forgiveness.
Yeah. So how do we allow ourselves to go, oh, this is awesome, I'm growing through something new, versus and it's the same as that fear of rejection. Oh, there it is. This is an opportunity for me to like be a different way, and then, share the goodness, the revolution of love out there in the world, right? So it's that, it's almost like that self-parenting. You called it self-soothing.
Yeah.
And I that was really big for me because I feel like I want them to apologize. Like, you're the one that triggered this.
They were just doing their thing.
Oh, we called them in for that very reason. Oh my God. So I could heal because of you. Thank you.
They're like, just say thank you. Well, I think that's what's so beautiful. I actually brought it, been doing the Ho'oponopono prayer. Ho'oponopono prayer. You know, I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's it's so simple, but it's so revolutionary. From, I thought it was all about, when I first started doing this years ago, I thought it was all about me forgiving other people.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I, I was drinking these drinks, for something that was going on in my life this past weekend, and I was literally blessing the water before I was like ingesting it, and I was just telling my body, just process it the way it needs to. I am so sorry. Thank you. Thank you for being you.
Yeah. And I do that on the massage table when they're like digging it, which I ask for deep tissue. But I mean, like when they're digging into those knots in my back or in my shoulder, I'm like,
You can release it.
sorry, please.
Hold on to
Yeah.
it.
I love you. Thank you. I go through the whole thing. And like sometimes over and over again where they're like, you okay down there? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just praying.
Just moving through it.
Do you want me to stop? Do you want me less pressure? No, more. They're fine. So this what I want to do is shift into the gift, because this is um the sifter, he called it, the great sifter. So we don't, so revolution typically comes from, I'm not going to take it anymore. I want change. And then we like burn down the whole everything so that we can build something new, which we'll see when we get to rebirth is actually we want to integrate the old and the new. But anyway, in this revolution place, it is about what am I wanting to get rid of, and what am I bringing in? And he said, you'll notice that your body starts shifting, your need for certain foods starts shifting, your need for simplicity, which is where I've been talking about, oh my God, I want to get rid of everything in my house. I mean, really, I want it all gone. And I'm like, would I even keep that? I don't know. Would I keep? I don't know. And so like, how much would I put in storage and how much would I just get rid of? And so where I think I'm already doing this internally, it's starting to manifest outside of me as well as internally. And I think that call for um, that learning to discern, which we talked about last week,
Right.
is this something that's coming with me on this journey, or can I just leave this behind?
Right. Well, and I think that's, to equate it to like another metaphor, like if we have any kind of tree growth, the things that or our growth, there's things that have to go back into the cycle to be recycled, right? So that simplification is just allowing us more space, opening us up for more expansion.
Yeah. Speaking of which, grandmother oak had like 2 leaves left on this big 120-year-old oak that's out in front of the house. And she is one of because the type of oak she is, she doesn't lose all of her leaves until the spring when the new ones start popping out, and then they push the old leaves off. So these last 2 leaves did not want to leave. And there was a squirrel like trying to get them to build a nest. I mean, he was with his fight. And I'm like, little resistance there. Those don't want to go yet. Everything else is on the ground or has blown away or been raked or whatever. So I'm laughing because I'm like, yeah, there's some of those that are just not going to want to go, which speaks to the humans that are not ready for this type of work. They're not, this doesn't make sense. This is too much. They don't understand the world right now, and they're ready to check out, and they will. They'll either get on board and start the process, or they'll go into their next iteration and then do the process there. So can we love them?
Yeah. This again is acceptance for ourselves, and acceptance of where each of us, and honoring each one of us on our path.
And I
Like,
think, what would our world be like if we had leaders in the social political world that were leading from a, I love you and you, I love, for the best of all of us, we're going to go here. Some of you are not going to like it, but this is where we need to go. And stopping that whole, this is where revolutionaries tended to go, right? We have to burn down the whole system and build a new one. That's not sustainable either.
well, and I think that's where the grafting, we keep the things that make sense, recycle the things that don't. It doesn't mean that everything has to be torched. It just means,
So it's botanical grafting.
I know I'm using a
I'm
lot of
like,
botanicals
I
today.
know, I'm thinking of your history and how that makes sense, but I'm thinking in terms of, we're moving so slowly with our big, huge government that's a little too unwieldy, and they couldn't even like make it. They were so close to making a beautiful decision that was bipartisan this week, and it got kiboshed, which is a shame. Hopefully it can be salvaged. So when we do work together, when we do create things that are like, okay, this is what we really need as a world to move forward, then it's, there's still going to be the fear that's going
Right.
to hold back.
The thing that I am really understanding is that we can't change anything out there until we do the stuff inside. And so, okay, it's not going the way that we want or what we expect. So how are you going to choose to react to it?
I'm going to
Right?
run. Because that's what I do.
Right? Like,
No, I know.
it's like, okay, well, that's what's going on right now. And so can we have
How do
each
you
of us,
want to be with it? You
right? How
don't
do you want to
necessarily
be
have to
with it?
react, but you can respond.
Right. So how do we wish to choose, or how do we choose to respond to something that we aren't in agreement with or don't like? Or so it says more about us. And
Absolutely.
that's where the grace comes in, because like we're to try and push away through, it's like honoring whatever process is going through what it goes through. I mean, Mother Nature, she does her own thing, right? Tornadoes, earthquakes, whatever, to make change happen. Volcanoes. I mean, do you take it personally? I mean,
Sometimes, no.
it's part of our nature.
Yeah, the fires, I think I do. Because those feel, I don't know, for some reason that hurts the most to me.
Right.
But
But
yeah,
it,
so how do you find the compassion for
well,
both ourself that is in the fear space, but
right.
also for the world, for the earth, for each other?
It is such a compassion. I mean, it starts right here at home. And that's where that self-acceptance thing was coming into play for me. Um, and just knowing that each one of us has our own gifts. And as we share our light, we're gifting that to other people to light up their light. And that's the only way our fractal family or our families are going to connect in a different way.
Yeah. So tell me, how how do we get to play with the space of uh rebirth? I mean, to me, it feels like, I mean, I always know that shamans, go through rebirths, right? That you have to get rid of the old so that you can like burn away the old. And he talks a lot about heat. Did you hear that?
Yeah. And it's on a cellular level. This isn't just, you know, emotional. This is on a physical level too.
Yeah. And so how do we, I mean, like, can we experience rebirth in small ways? Can we experience rebirth in, like, maybe of just one? I mean, I want to be able to celebrate small. I mean, I don't know about, but I mean, like, if every time I like make a little um headway into being able to listen while all my energetic and emotional, it's more not energetic, it's emotional stuff is telling me to run, and I stay and I look my partner in the eye and listen with love and compassion. I'm like, okay, this is really hard. Is this on the path to rebirth? Why are you laughing at me?
No, I
You
think
know us,
like
I guess.
it's it's our collective awakening. It's the, you know, that person, and then our circle that connects the two of us, right? So that's that love awareness.
Yeah.
Love can reside there in and amongst the muck, and to say, I see you, I see myself in the yuckiness, and we're going to make it through this. I mean, I think it's I have some notes that it's like family becomes the fusion laboratory of flow of love through community where there is no division. There's a fellowship recognition that takes place, and it's hyper efficient because we we're we see each other's gifts through the muck, and we witness it as.
So to me, I describe that as holding the complexity, that we embody the complexity that we are experiencing, because it's not going to be clean and easy. It's a
But
lot going on. There's a lot going on at the same time.
yeah,
So
because it's as he says, yeah, it's an evolutionary force pushing upward within all matter. So there is an involution force working its way down from the realms of spirit into the material world. So there is, you got to recognize it's not just your partner and you, but we're also bringing down information to share our heart space. So there's a lot of mixing going on from multiple realms. But I think that as we talked about just a few minutes ago, that forgiveness is going to be key. He says forgiveness is an energy frequency working its way down into form, clearing and releasing everything in its path. Now just feel
like a
that.
forest, like a fire, right?
Yes,
And
but that's what makes the rebirth possible, is that forgiveness. How can we sit with ourselves so compassionately to say, I have gone through a lot of things in my life.
yeah,
Accept that, and allow us to use those golden nuggets. I mean,
um,
the learnings from that.
they call it the crucible in my one training, where you're doing your inner work so that you can do your outer work. And it was so fascinating because it is a crucible. It is the first time I lived in Australia. We were there during one of the big fires that took a whole bunch of Sydney, including some of their botanical gardens, which of course was heartbreaking to me because I had been there and seen them. And after that, we went on a camping trip, and we drove outside of Sydney, and we were driving through just miles and miles of devastation. But there was, uh, when we first drove through it, all I noticed was the black, charred parts left of trees. After the weekend, there had been some rain. That was another whole story, camping in the rainforest. Talk about a lot of water. And then we came back, and there were little, like, lime green new growth on all those black charred trees. It was the most amazingly beautiful thing I'd ever seen. I think that that's an image I need to hold in my mind as I burn up
Yeah.
stuff, so that I can regenerate, right?
Just know that it's clearing space. I mean, there are some trees that absolutely need or require fire in
I
order
didn't know
to
that either,
open.
like the acacia, and it pops open into that beautiful star, like the the seed pod opens, and it looks like a star. It is the most, and I was like, but the only thing that'll open it, and I know a lot of the eucalyptus are the same way. The only way that they will regenerate is through fire. And I'm like,
They're the phoenix of the,
I
of
know.
the tree world.
So so yes, let's talk about being a phoenix. So if you and as we each, there's something that's magical about each person that kind of reaches into these new levels of consciousness, how it kind of is felt by those around us. So by us doing this work, it is impacting our loved ones, our families, our communities, those that we are with on a daily basis in whatever way. So that makes it like it is spiritual work, and it's also work in the world. This is changing the world.
Yeah. It's grounded, practical application. Just, and I think that that's what we're doing together and have been doing with the School of Light for the past 7 years, as we've like been just working with you know, these concepts.
Yeah.
And I think that
Now that
those,
we've gone through the school, I think
yeah,
we road tested it.
we've
Sorry,
we would love for other people to,
join us. Yeah.
yeah, join us and not feel alone. I mean, because you're not. We understand.
And that is a result of a lot of the deeper inner work. As you're changing, very often it's like, oh, I don't know anybody else who's in the same place. I remember saying that to you years ago when I first met you. I was like, I don't have any people here in St. Louis. All my besties are in Colorado and California and East Coast. And you were like, there's a whole community here in St. Louis. I was like, really?
Yeah.
So, but but it's funny because I needed to expand my circle beyond my circle. And I was yearning for that kind of community, which I found through magic school and a bunch of other, you know, feminine presence circles. So where I'm at with you is, how would you like to close today? Because I think of this rebirth is bringing a lot forth, and I am going to do this the way I do this very often is through it's in my programming. My gene key about ecstasy and delight is I need to find ways to make this palatable in the darkness, in the hard work, in the staying on course and on purpose. And so I just want to play with you on that, because I appreciate that I get to light up a little bit with you in these conversations, because I go down a rabbit hole, and you know me, I'm gone for a while. So I do have the mudra, but I want to know if you are being called to do anything else, and do we want to post the link to join us for the equinox blessings circle in the
Yeah.
circle? We'll have that posted below,
Yeah, that's going to be happening on March 19th.
and it's at 2 p.m. Eastern time, 12 p.m. Mountain,
Yeah.
11.
So it's
Okay.
a short little break, like if you have a time out in the middle of the day just to kind of connect.
Yeah, and we all could use, the more of us that are there, it's more amplified. Um, and it's just about just dropping into the blessings, and I loved how he ended this particular gene key 49, with blessings.
Yeah.
Blessings for us all, blessings for those that are learning this, blessings for those who are not ever going to learn this, blessings for those who are struggling. And I that was a very uncharacteristic way for him to close this. It was also, I noticed, the longest of all of his recordings, because he does go into so much more depth, because this is a big one.
This
This
is a biggie.
it's an evolutionary thing. So the mudra, and I think that it's so funny how we can teach our bodies to hold this energy when our mind is in resistance, our emotions are going, what? You know, but energetically, so you're crossing your thumb and forefinger and your ring and pinky finger, and your middle fingers are straight up, kind of in a temple position. And this is rebirth, and allowing that essence, that energy to flow through us, breathing it in. Man, it calms my whole system. Thank you for doing that with me.
Yeah. Blessings, blessings, blessings.
Take good care, everyone. I can't find my cursor to stop.